What's good, Joe? Welcome back. Welcome back. I feel like it's been a minute. I feel like it's been a minute since I've talked to you guys, man. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Big race this weekend. We're in Miami. Miami, baby. Miami, Florida, man. Just south of me. I'm in Georgia, just south of me. Should be very, very, very fun race. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time. So, I'm not sure yet if y'all gonna be live. Still gotta figure out, just the overall plan for this weekend. I do got some stuff this weekend that I have to do, so I'll probably let you guys know that Friday or Saturday, just over it. But just some news right quick. Porsche and Audi will join Formula One, the Volkswagen CEO. So that's pretty cool. Good to see Porsche and Audi in F1. Very, very looking forward to that. It's gonna be interesting to see, what exactly they do. Probably like manufacturing stuff like that. So that should be very, very cool. And that's really it. So shout out to bro right here. Leclerc versus Verstappen, a story 12 years in the making. We've already checked out these two a lot. We know about this, how they grew up. They've been going against each other for like years, even before F1. So let's go and get started, man. Shout out to Tomo. Already subscribed to him. And now, let's go. Let's officially get started for real.
Squarespace for sponsoring this video. On the 30th of September 1997 in Hasselt, Belgium, Maximilian Verstappen Supermax, the Dutch Messiah of 2020.
His middle name is Emilian Max Emilian Verstappen. That's his middle name. That's hard.
Was born 16 days later on the 16th of October 1997, about a 12-hour drive away in Monte Carlo, Monaco. Charles, Marc, Hervé, Percival, Leclerc, Charlie Boy, Chuckles, the current 2022 F1 World Championship leader,
Leclerc
was also born. Split by just 16 days, the first 4 races of this 23-race calendar have been dominated in most part by these two. Max may have DNF twice on reliability, but on pace, these two in their Ferrari and Red Bull respectively have been a cut above. 2 wins apiece, looking like it'll go the distance. So how did we get it? How did these two lads go from 4-year-olds in karts to 24-year-olds with multiple race wins?
Leclerc looks damn near the exact same as he was in that recent picture. Like, every time I see that picture, he looks exactly damn near like.
What's the history? What's the beef?
What's
the incident?
I mean, of course you would, but like.
These two young Europeans have been tearing it up since day dot in motor racing. Since they were first introduced as toddlers by their ex-racing dad. So obviously Max Verstappen, his dad is Jochen.
Also, shout out to my boy Leo for the video suggestion, man. Big ups to you.
Who'd raced in Formula 3 during the 80s and the 90s. And let's not
that's not that great.
Max's mum.
But it's still hard to make it F1 though. It's hard to make it F1.
Seems to get overlooked, but drove top level go-karts in the 80s and in the 90s, winning the Andrea Maguti Trophy in 1995
yes, sir.
alongside teammate Jenson Button, and even raced against Christian Horner back in 1989. Funny how things come around, eh?
Karting,
so let's
05
where
2013.
99% of racing car drivers start, in go-karts. These two were no exception. Both first got the taste when they were 4 years old, but typically you can't start racing competitively until you're about 7, 8 years old, which, I mean, that's still ridiculous
young. Yeah, 8 years old, competitive. But we see that now, just in America, obviously basketball world, AAU world, stuff like that. Like, kids are competing younger and younger
to
now.
be the best, it seems. And as much as Max and Charles had a lot of similarities, when you look at their early karting days, their experiences were quite different. Max won pretty much every event he rocked up to. Charles, it didn't come quite as easily to him. So let's start at the beginning of 2009, both lads being 11 years old at the time. Charles had competed in 4 championship events, his highlight being a P2 finish at the Championnat de France in the Mini-Me category. Not bad at all. Max, on the other hand, by this point had competed in 11 championship events and won 7 of them, 1 P2 as well. That's not just a strong start, that is a dominant
amazing start.
And look, I'd imagine
generational talent he is. Verstappen is generational talent.
To compete comes from the fact that, Verstappen, his dad, had just got out of F1. The parental opportunity there was higher because sure, Charles is Monegasque and that comes with a lot of, expectation of privilege and money.
That's nice hoodie he got. It looks real comfortable. I'll fall asleep in that. If I put that on.
Again, with Max, his dad had only hung up his F1 boots in 2003, so 6 years prior to 2009. And then he had his super successful karting mum, so he had both parents super invested in racing Of course, Max was going to turn into an F1 World Champion. It was written in the stars, surely. The Verstappen name didn't just come money, it comes respect, it comes doors opening to you, whereas the Leclerc name wasn't a known entity, so I can only imagine that would have played a part in the early start of their careers. So if it's alright for Max and Charles to both have their own websites, then why can't you? I think it's a great idea, whether you've got an online business, portfolio, blog, doesn't matter, with hundreds of beautiful templates to choose from, easy as you like, drag and drop functionality, no code.
Yeah, Squarespace is cool.
Building websites
I like it.
on Squarespace could not be easier. I've been using Squarespace for years now, could not recommend it more highly, and the best thing is you could jump in, you can have a go, play around with the functionality, build something you like the look of, and it's completely free of charge. It's only when you want to take that website and put it live to the rest of the world that you have to pay anything. That's the time to go to squarespace.com/TomoF1 and save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The decision to go with Squarespace is much less I'm stupid and way more simply lovely. Now the records in these super early days aren't that clear, okay? It's the mid 2000s when they both started. In fact, Max's first competitive race was in 2005, which is the same year that this website, YouTube, you're watching this mug on, was founded. So a long time ago. Those first two events for Max in 2005 were the Dutch NAB Championship and the Limburg's Kart Championship.
I think I said this before regarding like racing, but like there's just so many just different racing competitions in the world. Like, you know, you look at England, France, Germany, Japan. It's just so many just different just kart racing. It's it's crazy. It's just so many, just different kart championships, you know, competition stuff like that, and you know that's where a lot of different drivers originate from. Like, you know, I probably won't even remember these two after the video, but it's just
both in the mini junior class,
just so many,
a P16 and a P2 respectively. I'd love to tell you more, but I can't find any information. Sorry. Charles's first competitive event came 1 year later in 2006 at the Devon Coupe de France. But there is a lot more information about this one to think about. An 8-year-old Charles would finish third in his group of 18, qualifying for the pre-final where he finished 8th, and then in the actual final he finished P11. I found an old article on it, I'll link it in the description. If you're a Charles fan and you can read French, you might find this an interesting read. So that's their first. I'm not going to go through every single karting event they competed in, obviously. We'll be here all day. I'm going to instead focus on the ones where we can compare the two of them. At least poignant karting moments. And of course, one of them has to be the first time the two of them faced off head-to-head. So as far as I can see, I could be wrong on this, but if I've done my research properly, then the first time they competed head-to-head was on the 21st of February 2010 at the Lonato Winter Cup, 12 years ago, hence the title, an Italian karting competition organised by South Garda Karting. And they'll
I just peeped that.
competing in the KF3 class. Both lads would have been 12 at the time of this event, which included 108 drivers.
Jeez!
In total, a bunch of names you're going to recognise. Alongside Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, we also had Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, Jake Dennis, Callan.
I don't know who that is.
Shout out Callan. He was on the channel a while back talking about Red Bull, ex-Red Bull Academy. Link above if you want to watch it. And the late Antoine Hubert. In this stacked grid, for sure, Max managed to finish P2 in the 34 car final with a 45.398 fastest lap. Well done, Max. Charles would have a much more difficult time of it, finishing down in P21 with 45.559. fastest lap.
Struggle a tad bit.
Pierre finished P9, Esteban P7, Alex P3, and fastest lap, Alex Albon. Yes, come on, son. That's my boy. So that's the first time they competed. Now let's fast forward 2 years to the
2014
that we all know and look back lovingly on, thanks to the glory, the joy of interviews and cameras, which 10 years ago weren't that common around karting races, seemingly. On the 6th of May 2012, at the second round.
Did I say 2014? Ugh, God. Let's go back to school, man. Go back to school.
The WS.
I don't know why you guys watch my dumb ass. It's all jokes. It's all jokes.
Both drivers.
Thank you guys for watching.
14 years of age. We all know what happened, don't we? Surely, come on now. Basically, it was raining. The two were far and away leading.
Oh, yeah,
Max was
they
ahead.
crashed,
Charles,
right?
according to Charles, he was close in. He says he was the quicker driver on the day.
Yeah, he crashed.
So otherwise,
or he hit him.
They had a little coming together on track, and that kind of spilled over to carry on after the checkered flag was waved. So it was a bit naughty for both of them, it seems. So then we got this iconic interview.
No, it's just unfair. I'm leading, he wants to pass, he pushed me, I push him back, and after he pushed me off the track.
What's happened with Max?
Nothing, just an incident on the race.
Charles actually gave a little bit more of a break to Ziggo, because obviously Ziggo were like, what happened with Max back in the day?
And Claire's like, nothing.
Fun. It's part of racing. It happens.
Dude,
There's
I got tears in my eyes.
On that day, there definitely was. Did this start?
I'm tearing up after that.
Well, I mean, probably not. They probably battled hard and had these incidents beforehand. It's just that was the first time that we saw anything really properly caught on camera. And not even the incident itself, it was just the reaction afterwards, which was just hilarious. But anyway, both lads will continue on in karts until the end of 2013 before making the switch to cars for 2014. In those 4 full years, so 2010 to 2013, the Vettel dominant years, funnily enough, I have worked out that they faced each other in championships on 33 occasions. In 2010, it was 7-0 to Max. He beat Charles in every competition they both entered. In 2011, it was 5-1 to Max, but then in 2012, it was 5-4 to Charles, and then back to 8-3 to Max.
Damn.
Both drivers competed unquestionably well and did an incredible job, but Max was just on another level.
Different talent.
Charles, but everyone else at the time.
Different talent. Oh,
so now to the
God.
big stuff, the step up from karts, the transition that a lot of drivers, you know, they had really successful karting careers, but aren't able to transition that pace and that ability into open wheelers. Fortunately for these two, that wasn't a problem for them. At 16-year-old Max Verstappen would join Van Amersfoort Racing in Euro Formula 3, whereas Charles would go to the lesser-known Formula Renault Alps 2.0 series with Fortec Motorsport, and both impressed. Max managed a P3 in his debut championship, which could have easily been a title challenge if it wasn't for 8 retirements over the course of the year, whereas championship winner Esteban Ocon only had 3. At one point, Max had won 6 races in a row, completely whitewashing Spa and the Norris.
It's funny how it seemed like Esteban Ocon was very good during like the junior days or whatever. But he's kind of, I'm not gonna say he struggled because I don't want to like say anything stupid, but like he's not having the same success as Verstappen. But Verstappen at like the junior age or whatever was just on a different level. And that just translated to F1 now, you know what I mean? But then for like Ocon, like, you know, Gasly and Albon, it seemed like they had solid junior careers, but it just hasn't really translated to the F1 scene. Which you guys have mentioned, which, you know, it goes back to that shit's hard to do. Like, F1 ain't no joke. That shit's hard. It's hard to win.
To stop Mercedes signing him, because Toto Wolff wanted him, and plugged him into a Formula 1 car on the 3rd of October 2014 for an FP1 session at Suzuka. For Max's career development, it was such an incredible achievement for him personally to be able to get into an F1 car having only turned 17 4 days prior.
Man, it's not even 18 yet.
This FP1 outing. Max had never raced in cars. He still hadn't competed in his final karting championship of 2013. Less than 12 months between your last karting race and your first driving an F1 car. Like, that is beyond words. That is ridiculous. And it gets
crazy.
More practice runs in 2014 at Kota and at Interlagos, where he did a massive drift and somehow managed to save it. Well done, Max. Honestly, what a mad story, and there were no surprises when it was announced that Max Verstappen would be full-time for Toro Rosso in 2015. It was abundantly clear to everyone that this kid was something special, so Red Bull wanted to tie him down.
Generational talent.
He managed a P2 in this inaugural season in cars, but was quite a way off eventual winner Nick de Vries. Although, bear in mind, Nick was 2 years older than Charles. He retired from the first 2 races this season, but still ended up picking up 2 P1s and 5 additional podiums in the remaining 12 races.
That's good.
This season. Pretty damn good for you.
Yeah, that's really good.
Not enough to get him an F1 seat, obviously, but what that would get him is Max's old seat at Van Amersfoort Racing in Euro Formula 3 for the next year, for 2015. Would that have probably hurt his ego a little bit, essentially being a year behind Max now and already seeing Max in a Formula 1 car? of course, but I'm sure Charles wasn't the only one. No, Ocon was, because he bloody beaten Max. Yet Max.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah.
Junior formulas.
Like, I'm doing all this, and Verstappen gets caught up with, but I don't.
So
I'm salty as shit. I'm salty as hell.
Max to P7 in his
but he's got to keep working. Wait, he's in what?
Max to P7
I'm talking to you that much.
So it's impossible to compare, but we'll briefly go through it. Max to P7 in his second ever Formula 1 race.
That's
finished the season at 49 points, 31 ahead of teammate Carlos Sainz. He managed 2 P4s in that season. Sainz couldn't go better than P7, and the car finished P7 in the constructors as well. So Max just ridiculously good. As for Charles, he was fighting at the sharp end in Euro Formula 3 in Max's old car. Finished P4 in the end. Managed 4 wins and 4 P2s over the 33 race season.
Lance Stroll
ran away with the title, no question. But Charles gave a very good account of himself. Oh yeah, and he participated in the world famous Macau Grand Prix in 2015. Qualifying P3, finishing P2 behind Rosenquist.
Cars
2016 was
2016.
somehow Max's most impressive season, arguably.
This is his third year, right?
Impressive up to this point, but this was ridiculous.
14, 15,
He
16.
spent just 4 races at Toro Rosso in 2016, beating Carlos Sainz in the 3 of the 4 that he actually finished, before getting the call to replace Daniel Kvyat at Red Bull Racing, which you can argue that was harsh on Kvyat because he'd actually beaten Ricciardo this season before, but whatever, Max had definitely proven that he was the next best thing. So then an 18-year-old Max Verstappen in a car with race
18
with a whole year of F1 experience already under his belt, rocks up in Catalonia, qualifies P4, holds off Seb at the start, has a prime seat view of the iconic Hamilton-Rosberg collision, and with Danny Rick suffering a puncture, Max Verstappen took home the win on his Red Bull debut. Not
That's
only the youngest
crazy.
drivers to ever achieve an F1 podium, but
That's
also
a
the
winning.
youngest drivers to ever win a race. And as for the rest of the season, he more than held his own against Danny Rick, no question. In those 17 remaining races, Max scored 191 points, Daniel managed 220, so only 29 behind. Especially impressive as Max had 2 DNFs in that time, Danny didn't have any. 6 podiums in 17 races for Max. It's just stupidly impressive. Again, I know Crashtappen, alright, this is where the meme started to kind of...
Crashtappen.
But yeah, he was rapid. You can forgive a young driver for having a few incidents. He was still only bloody 18, okay? What were you doing when you were 18? I was getting faced in clubs in Bournemouth at uni. He was
I was in school. I was in college. Going crazy.
Charles for 2016, he moved to GP3, the series that would eventually become Formula 3. He won the first race of the season at Catalonia, took 2 more wins.
It's crazy how far Verstappen was in front of everybody. Well, more specifically to Leclerc. Verstappen was in F1 around like this time, winning races, just won his first race, the youngest to ever do it, while Leclerc is still in Formula 3. That's it, man. This man Max is a generational talent. Just once every blue moon, every sport has this. Every sport just has just this generational talent that just changes the game. You look at NBA, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. You got American football. You know what I mean? Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he is generational talent. Yeah. You know what I mean? Soccer. Lionel Messi. Ronaldo. And much other sports. Like, every sport has a generational talent during their years, whatever. And this is Max. He is a generational talent. You can also say Lewis Hamilton is a generational talent as well, which, you know, I would think that he is. He is. But just in this case, the gap between Verstappen and Leclerc at this point is crazy. And to what it is now...
4 P4s to win the title by 25 points ahead of Alex Albon, P2, come on. And also Alex
Come
won more
on.
than Charles. He won 4 races all season, so just saying. But also Alex is quite better than Charles. So. And Charles would get his first taste of
See, he
F1
says
racing
Charles.
in 2016.
I say
as a
Charles.
development driver for Haas. In 2017, the buzzword, not just for Max, but for Daniel Ricciardo as well, was retirement, DNF. There were lots. Daniel retired 6 times that year, Max 7. Some were his fault, some weren't. He still managed 2 wins at Mexico and Malaysia, respectively. But Daniel's podium consistency was that bit better. So he managed 200 points. Max managed 168. Still, another really strong season. Yes, the crashes were there. Yes, there were incidents. But he clearly showed he had talent. He had pace. And it's much easier to take a driver from overdriving and pull them down a bit than try and make someone good who just doesn't quite have the minerals, you know what I mean? And then Charles Leclerc, 2017.
That's right, bro.
Clean up quite a famous Formula 2 season. Arguably the most dominant Formula 2 season of all time. 22 rounds, 7 wins, 2 P2s and a P3. Almost a 50% podium.
My dog.
72 points clear of P2 Artem Markelov. And back-to-back shots of relative dominance from Charles, which meant he was finally...
Charles! Dominant F2.
At long last, for the first
finally,
time
my boy,
we were going to see Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen on the same championship calendar fighting
Alfa Romeo.
Well, kind of, because Max was in a Red Bull, like a race-winning car.
Yep.
Charles was in an Alfa Romeo Sauber, which was not that. So, were they really head-to-head?
No.
But this was a huge year for both of them because this was the changing of the guard season for Max, where he'd outscored Daniel Ricciardo for the first time, and you would see the team kind of priority shift towards him. At least.
Wow. So the minute Max started outperforming Daniel Ricciardo, because Daniel Ricciardo outperformed him the first 2 years. It wasn't by like a big margin. I think like the first was like 29 points. The second was a bit smaller. But the minute Max overtook Ricciardo, Daniel, whatever. That's when I think Buddy said that. Dude said that. That's when they started fucking with Max more compared to Daniel. Personally, if I was Red Bull, I would. I mean, plus if you can already sense it, and they already like sense it and know that Max is gonna be better than like Daniel, they're not really surprised by it. But I would have kept Daniel on to see if he can get back, but obviously we all know what happened, you know.
As far as Daniel Ricciardo was concerned,
he got kicked out.
Points for Max, 2 wins, 4 P2s,
he got kicked
5
out.
P3s, a season that only got better as it went on, whereas Daniel retired a quite frankly ridiculous 8 times, prompting him to hand in his P45 and bugger off to Ren. But then Charles's 2018 was, I don't know.
But Daniel Ricciardo keeps on freaking DNF. Daniel keeps on DNFing.
As a rookie, immediately outperforms his vastly more experienced teammate. 39 points for Charles, just 9 for Marcus by the end of the year. And Charles ended the season with 3 P7s in a row, so 3 best of the rest. In probably the 8th, at best 7th quickest car that season. I mean, no wonder Ferrari can call it. So here we are, with Charles in a Ferrari, with Max in a Red Bull, finally.
So he was only with Alfa Romeo for like a year or so, year or two.
Equally competitive machinery, kind of. We could see them battle, and the season only ended 14 points between the two of them. 278 for Max, 264 for Charles. 3 wins for Max, 2 for Charles. 2 pole positions for Max, 7 for Charles. Round 9 in Austria will be remembered for the one that came to blows, where, you know, Charles was ahead and Max sent it up the inside and maybe was over the line. I still don't really know where I sit with that one, to be honest. But then that led up to one of my favourite battles in Formula 1 history. 100%. Round 10, Silverstone, Leclerc, Verstappen, both giving it some. It was so good. Martin Brundle was absolutely losing his mind on the comms, and I cannot blame him. And as much as the two had very, very different career trajectories, particularly in the early doors of their car racing careers, it showed that, you know, bring them back together and they were operating on a very, very high and very, very similar level. Now, 2020, 2021, not really going to talk about them too much because the Ferrari was a donkey. Charles didn't get the opportunity to perform. 21 was better, but they were still way behind.
Yeah, behind.
So we want.
But this year's different. This year is different. This year is different.
2022, this season, 4 races in, 2 wins apiece. Without the technical DNFs for Max and without the Charles Spin-Yala, we could have easily seen this be a P1, P2, P1, P2. Like, they could be level on points with the performances they put in. I know Perez did a fantastic job in Saudi and was very, very unlucky, but you look at the pace of Max.
And Perez been good this year too, though.
Without question, a cut above. Because of Max's DNFs, Charles sits 27 points clear, but it definitely seems like this battle is going to go the distance. If anything, I think what's going to be more pivotal to whether they can maintain the title challenge, both of them to the very end, is how these cars develop. Because these cars are like newborn babies. They're going to be growing very quickly. They're going to be changing. They're going to be getting a bit gobby, and they're going to be, you know, grinding their air out and being sick and doing all this stuff that kids do when they grow up, right? That's what the cars are going to do. But as long as their performance stays similar, these two are going to extract pretty close to the ceiling and going to give us some cracking battles, no doubt. The Ferrari probably looks the slightly more composed overall package, but Imola proved that on the right track, the Red Bull can be faster. The development race is going to be a huge component in who wins at the end. For me, I still feel like Charles, because I believe in Ferrari that they're going to deliver this car that is going to get...
My boy Leclerc is going to get one this year, man.
I've only seen one major mistake from these two drivers.
He's going to get one this year.
Imola, and it was a significant mistake. So you got to say, in terms of so far this season, I'll probably give the performance advantage slightly to Max. You've got to remember, they might be the same age. They might only be split by 16 days. But Max has double the experience in F1. 8 years. This is 8th year in Formula 1. Hilarious. He's only 24. What is this? Whereas Charles, this is his 5th season. So it's not technically double, but you know what I mean. Max has had a lot more time. That's all I'm saying. So who's on?
8 years for Verstappen, 5 years for Leclerc, man. And man, Verstappen is different. Leclerc is starting to be different. You guys let me know. You guys start some reactions to it, man. Hey, could we possibly see those two teaming up in the future? Anyway, don't forget to touch the video. We'll see you guys later.